Hello everybody and welcome. I'm the grounded Gliscor, your favorite Iron Only Poker Tutorials channel, and I want to welcome you to our week 3 battle in the TDL Season 2. And I'm your coach, the grounded Gliscor, coach of the Low Land Nidoqueens, ficing up against Irish Emerald, coach of the Wexford Wailords. The team you see in front of you is from earlier today's team builder, which consists of Metagross with the Shaka Berry, Mega Venusaur, Defensive Skarmory with Rocky Helmet, Zoltfest Goodra, Dark EMZ Greninja, and then bulky Aromatisse with Wish, Protect, Moonblast, and Aromatherapy. As for my opponent's side, we see that he brings the Heliolisk, the Charizard Mega Y, the Garchomp, the Jirachi, the Delmice, and the Florges. So sort of what I expected him to bring, as I discussed in the team builder. If you want to know what my thought process was, and if you want to see what we have in terms of spreads, be sure to check the team builder. It will also be a link down below. Also, the link of my opponent will be down below as well. So, looking at my opponent's team, I was really debating between Goodra, Venusaur, and Metagross, what I could actually lead off with. So, since I did not quite know what to actually lead off with, I went with Metagross because I could get up rocks easily turn 1 if need be, as he is actually going to open up with Heliolisk, so that's a bad lead for me, which makes me forcing out into my Venusaur to actually take the incoming electric type move. As he is going to go for the Volt Switch, and he is actually going to go back to, he's now going out into the Jirachi, and of course I did not want to stay in, so I swap out into my Skarmory, as he is actually going to set up his rocks right here. So he set up his rocks, and I did not actually want to deal with that, so he's actually going to go for the Thunderbolt right now, which actually caught me off guard, and I'm going to defog them away. So of course I do not want to stay in, because I do not want to get Skarmory taken down already, so I switch out to the Magudra, as he is actually going to predict my swap out and goes for the Stealth Rock this turn. So Goodra is in right now, and he's actually going to go for the U-turn to see also my ability. And he's actually now going to swap out into Fabled, which is his Florges, as I'm actually going to go for the Ice Beam, predicting the swap out into potentially the Garchomp or something, or the Delmice. So Fabled to Florges is going to get some leftovers recovery, and we are forced to switch out yet again, as I'm going to go into Aroma Lisa, my Aromatisse of course, and I'm going to get and I want to get a wish off, as he gets a wish off as well. So he's pretty much back to full right now, and I wanted to take this opportunity to actually wish off as well, to get my Skarmory maybe back on later. So Fabled is going to go for the Toxic right here, and Fabled is actually going to Toxic my Aromatisse, which is unfortunate even though we have Aromatherapy. So I'm going to wish up as well, and Fabled is going to get his wish up right now, and I wanted to take this opportunity to actually swap out. So Romalisa gets also the leftovers back, and then some poison damage. And I'm actually going to get he is actually going to swap out his Forges into his Charizard right here, as I'm actually going to swap out into my Skarmory to get it actually back up, even though I knew that he probably would bring something in to counter me. So the wish came through, and we're pretty much all back to full, so I switch out my Skarmory into my Goodra, because there was the designated switch for that. So Goodra gets some Stealth Rock damage, unfortunately, and Wildfire is going to Mega Evolve and wants to launch the biggest of Fire Blast towards us. As he's also going to activate the Drought, and unfortunately he is going to miss the Fire Blast right here. Unfortunate for Iris, I'm sorry. But he's now actually going to switch out his Charizard Mega Y and go back into the Florges, which I predict, and go for the Sludge Wave straight up. So Sludge Wave is going to do a good amount towards the Florges, and I did not want to actually catch a Moonblast, because I needed Goodra healthy enough so that Aromatisse could actually heal it back up if need be, and that I could swap out into my Charizard again. So he's gonna wish up, and I'm actually into my Metagross, which I did, which was a misplay on my part. I should have went to Aromatisse and wished up again, but he's now actually gonna switch out into his Delmice, as I'm gonna get my Rocks up right here. So I'm gonna get my Rocks up right here, and I want to switch out into my Skarmory, predicting him to actually go for the Rapid Spin, so he could take some Rocky Helmet damage. So if he indeed had a Sash, it probably would be broken at this time. So he's taking the Rocky Helmet damage, and Starscream is in here safely as well, and I can actually now go for the defog to get the rocks off the field. As he's actually going to go for the solar panel, his Heliolisk switch on my Skarmory, which is clearly unfortunate for me. So I'm forced to swap out actually yet again, and I go out into my Venusaur, because that was my designated switch for the Heliolisk to take the electric type moves. So he's going to Volt Switch out yet again, and now he goes into his Charizard, and of course I cannot stay in here, because I do not want to get blown back by an Air Slash or a Fire Blast. So I'm going to switch out my Venusaur right here, and I go straight back out to the Jenna, which he is not going to predict, and he goes for the Fire Blast. As you see, does a tremendous amount of damage. So this turn he's actually swapping out his Charizard yet again, and goes out into Starman, as I'm actually going to swap out into my Greninja, predicting potentially the Florges or the Jirachi at this point, and is now actually going to switch out into his Delmice, as I'm actually going to launch off my Z move, the Dark Hole Eclipse. So Greninja is going to go for the Black Hole Eclipse from the Night Slash, and we are going to take this Shipwreck with us, which is going to drop Shipwreck straight up. So Greninja takes his kill this first match, and he now goes into Heliolisk and probably to Volt Switch around. I know that, but I cannot stay in, so I go back into Goodra to take the Volt Switch. So he Volt Switches out against Goodra, which is unfortunate, and now he goes back out into Wildfire right here. So the sun is going to fade, which is lucky enough for me, as he now is actually going to go for a Dragon Claw towards us, which is not going to be able to take us out, as I'm going to go for the Rock Slide. Rock Slide is close to taking out the Charizard, but it was not enough yet, so I'm actually going to switch out into my Zabimaru, the Greninja, to take the incoming Fire Blast or Dragon Claw. So he's going to go for the Dragon Claw. It does an okay amount, but Greninja takes it okay in my opinion, and I go for the Ice Beam, predicting the swap to potentially the Garchomp again. So now he is back in with Fabled, and I did not quite know what to do, so he is actually now going to switch out into his Charizard right here, as I'm actually going to launch up a Gunk Shot. I don't know why he actually did that. He probably predicted me to swap out or something, but I'm going to take this Charizard down with me straight up, and that's another kill for Greninja. Now he goes into Predator right here, and I did not want to risk anything, so I'm actually going to swap out into my Skarmory, predicting the Earthquake, and then actually I wanted to make a... I wanted to actually switch out yet again, but I actually decided that getting health back was more important for me, so that's why I went for the Roost. So right here, I'm going to switch out my Skarmory and go back out into my Venusaur, as he's actually going to set up a Stealth Rocks yet again. So Venusaur right here, this time I needed to Mega Evolve just to get the Mega Evolution off, and I knew that I needed to go for the Synthesis while the sun is up, so I could scout what he had, if he had Zen Headbutt or Psychic, as he reveals that he has the Psychic and gets a special defense drop, unfortunately, as I'm going to get the Synthesis off, and I get back to pretty much full, which was great because the sun fades right now. So I am forced to switch out yet again, and I go into my Metagross because I saw that Jirachi so far only had used special moves and no physical moves, so my Metagross was a good switch for that. Now actually goes into Predator right here, and he goes for the Fire Blast and misses yet again, as I'm actually going to get an Ice Punch off and see that this Garchomp is indeed Focus Sash. So we're going to take some rough skin damage, which is unfortunate. And this turn I wanted to actually stay in. I eat my Shaka Berry, as he is actually going to Earthquake, and that is going to bring my Metagross almost to red health. As Metagross is actually going to get the Ice Punch off yet again, and is going to be able to take out this Garchomp while living at 2 HP, which is just amazing. And now it actually goes with the Solar Panel, and actually I should have sacked Metagross right here, but I decided to not to. So I switch out to my Venusaur to keep Metagross in for later, as he is actually going to Volt Switch out again. And he's actually going to Volt Switch out into his Jirachi right here. So Jirachi, of course, we saw that he has the Psychic and the Thunderbolt, and he goes indeed for the Psychic this turn. And I took it, which was a bad play on my part. I should have switched out, but I leached the Jirachi right here, and then finally saw what item he then would have. So I'm actually going to switch out, and then I go back into my Metagross to actually sack it to the Stealth Rocks right here to get a free swap into Greninja. So he goes for the Psychic up yet again, and this is the point where I feel a bit guilty. Well, we're getting to the point, but I go into my Skarmory right here, and I wanted to get the rocks away. So he crits me, unfortunately, so I'm gonna Roost right here on the crit Thunderbolt, and I knew that after the Leech Seed recovery I could probably live another one, so I was forced to actually Roost. Well, I was hoping I could live another one after the crit. So he's actually gonna withdraw right here, and he goes out into his Heliolisk, because I'm gonna get the Defog off. Not expecting what he probably would do. But rocks are off the field on my end, and I at this point decided to sack my Skarmory right here, because that was what I thought what was needed. So now he goes back out to the Starman to probably get up his rocks, and I did not quite know what I could actually do towards this. So this is the point where I kind of feel guilty. I should have went earlier into Aromatisse anyway, but now we're actually getting into a stall fest of me getting Aromatherapy, and then actually decide to Wish up and Protect most of the time. Because looking at the health of my mons, I only had Aromatisse, Greninja, Goodra and Venusaur left, and Venusaur and Goodra were weaker to the point that after Stealth Rocks they could not switch into a move of Jirachi. So I'm actually going to Wish up and then to protect the following turn. And just to get you into my thought process right here, why I did this was because I was hoping to actually stall him out of Psychics, which would mean that potentially after Rocks I was going to be able to live a Thunderbolt from Jirachi with Goodra and then take the game back from there. But he gets the paralysis on my Aromatisse, unfortunately, and goes for the Psychic, and he gets, and I'm gonna get a Wish up again. So, Leftover's gonna kick in again, which is also gonna kick in for Jirachi eventually. But Jirachi now goes for the Psychic yet again, and I'm gonna get paralyzed, unfortunately. This was the turn I went for Moonblast. I was banking on some special attack drops. But Psychic is gonna hit yet again, and I'm gonna Wish up. And that's pretty much how this, a big part of the match is actually going. And I want to apologize to Irish in this video as well, because this is not how I should have played actually, and this is not what I wanted him to see from me. The reason again why I stalled this out was because I had a chance of winning this if I could just stall him out of Psychics and keep him left with Thunderbolts. So he gets a special defense drop as I'm actually going to Wish up again, and it is indeed, as I said before, a stall fest between me going for Wish / Protect / Aromatherapy, maybe for Moonblast if it was healthy enough. But this time he goes for the Thunderbolt and gets the Paralyze yet again. So I was playing actually with the Serene Grace right here, which was unfortunately because I knew I should not have done that. But he goes for the Psychic again, Serene Grace pops again, and he gets another special defense drop. So we're getting at the point where I need to switch out my Aromalisa soon, because we were taking too much damage from the Psychic and the Thunderbolt together from Jirachi. So I needed to protect right here to actually get the Wish back. And actually he goes for the Thunderbolt yet again. So the Aromalisa just does what it needs to do. It needs to be bulky, tank some hits, and then proceed from there. So I go for the Wish again, and at this point I needed to actually risk also a play that I needed to make. So I wanted to go for the Protect, see what he could do to potentially stall him out a bit more, as I see that he continuously goes for the Thunderbolt at this point, potentially to get a Paralyze. So I restore a little bit of HP due to the Leftovers, and now he's actually going to go for the Psychic, and Aromalisa takes that pretty okay. It's almost a 2-shot, which makes me actually believe that if he crits me, the game is practically over. So he goes for the Thunderbolts yet again, and it's not going to bring me to the red, luckily enough, and I go for the Moonblast. I was hoping for the special attack drop, which he did not get, so that was a shame for Aromalisa right there. So, after 1 or 2 more turns of Leftovers, the Moonblast damage that I did was all for nothing, but I needed to preserve my wishes and protect, sort of. So I go for the Protect this turn to actually stall out 1 more turn off the Thunderbolt / Psychic that he wanted to go for, and then he is actually back up to full, so the Moonblast damage that we did is non-existent at this point. So Aromalisa gets 1 more turn of Leftovers recovery, and now Jirachi goes for the Psychic again, and gets another special defense drop. So I knew at this point I was, after 3 Spadef drops, I was actually losing this match straight up. So I could do 2 things right here. I could stall him out even further and make up all my PP, but I decided to switch out to the Magudra, hoping that I could probably live or that he would swap, but unfortunately Gudra dies to Stealth Rock, so it was a losing game to begin with. So right here Aromalisa could take on the Psychic 1 more time. So I could Wish up yet again, and then I actually needed to make some plays right here to potentially bring it back. So we're still 3-3, and I wanted to go for the Protect to get my Aromalisa back up to full pretty much after the Wish, so that Aromatisse could have a much easier day versus the Jirachi. Because I really needed to stall this thing out, because if not I would really lose this match. So he goes for the Psychic right now, and he gets a special defense drop yet again, as I'm actually going to go for the Moonblast, praying for the special attack drop, which I did not get yet again, as he's actually going to get more Leftovers recovery, and at this point I actually throw in the towel because I did not quite know what to do. So he goes for the Thunderbolt right here. It's not going to be taking me out, and I wanted to Wish up 1 more time, and this turn I wanted to predict him to actually, yeah, you were going to see, I get a bit more Leftovers recovery, and I actually wanted to predict him to go for the Psychic, so that's why I went into my Greninja. And Greninja is going to take a Thunderbolt to the face, and we are not going to be able to live, and that is actually going to be the point where the game will end. So at this point I knew that I wasted too much of Irish's time anyway, so I go into my Venusaur and actually go for the forfeit button right here. I forfeited the match 2-0, 2-3, and the kills goes to Jirachi anyway, but this is actually what the match is going to be. So Irish, I'm sorry for the stall, but it was a good battle. As again, his link will be in the description, and I want to thank you all so much for watching. I'm the Ground and Gliscor, and I'm out, guys.